Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass the Move, and for today's episode we are back in the live Liverpool series with the game here in the Champions League quarterfinal second leg against FCP. So, Premier League pretty much over, as you can tell, mathematically done. We've got 5 games left, game in hand, you know, in comparison to some of these other teams, and we seem to be doing okay. I mean, we should have a second place locked down, but of course it's going to probably run towards the end of the very last game of the season. I think we do face Manchester United and Chelsea over the last 4 of our, last 5 games. We do face Chelsea United. So the Premier League is no longer our focus, a bit disappointing, and we'll have a look through our schedule just to show you why, but you know, when you draw 6 times and lose 6 times, you're not going to have too much hope. Of course, Chelsea have had a very outstanding season, just 3 draws, 2 losses, 90 points, pretty much tells its own story, and they've dominated the rest of the league. And it looks like Leeds and Reading have already gotten relegated, and Huddersfield are trying to, you know, save their lives basically. But yeah, so we're no longer going to focus on the Premier League. What we're going to focus on the cup competitions, and just show you what happened since the last episode. So we showed you that game against let's have a look here. I think it was it West Brom or was it Watford? Well, anyways, either one of these teams, where West Brom ended in a 0-0 draw anyways. I think it was Watford, and I think we did just about edge it. It was 1-0. So against West Brom, this is where everything kind of went to crap, as you can tell. A couple of reds, couple draws, and a couple of greens thrown in there. So a very inconsistent period for Liverpool. A 0-0 draw against West Brom kind of really set us up for the failure that comes after, which is a 1-0 loss at home against Bournemouth. Sisto scoring for his team in the second half. We never really failed to recover. Salah having an incredible game, as well as Wallace, even Trent Alexander-Arnold actually, but the rest of his teammates really let them down. A couple of the front 4 failing to have any type of impact against Bournemouth of all teams. Away to Bayern, we've lost 1-0, but we went through on away goals because we beat them earlier 2-1. So it's a good thing I decided not to show you this game, because you know, we get to show you this quarterfinal leg here, and you know, where we've actually met the board expectations. So as good as a game as it was, it's very early on in the Champions League stages, so it makes sense to show you games where the stakes are a little bit higher. We managed to bounce back against Middlesbrough, and winning 2-0 away from home in the FA Cup 6th round, which has set up today's game, which we'll be showing you against as well with the FCP, is Wolves in the FA Cup semi-final. Again, the board expectations have been met, so we'll have to see whether we can get to the final, and hopefully in the last well, in the next episode rather, we can show you the final, and hopefully we'll win it, and possibly the semi-finals if we make it through against FCP today. After that though, a 3-1 win against Crystal Palace. Zaha managing to score, but we kind of had the game wrapped up already in the first half with Kent, Lacazette and Wallace all scoring, and we kind of just cruised to victory in the second half. Newcastle though, no cruising whatsoever. 3-2 ended in the home team favour. We were away from home. Mitrovic, Tony and Isaac all scoring. Isaac in particular dealing us the deadly blow, I suppose. 4-0 scored for us, as well as Chamberlain, but wasn't enough. Scored within 4 minutes of each other to actually equalise the game and help us secure sort of a comeback to a degree. We were 2-0 down at half-time, managed to turn it around in the second half, but Isaac kind of just killed it off for us. We couldn't grab our 3rd goal, and we had the chances to get it actually and completely turn the game around. But unfortunately we didn't grab our chances, and Newcastle did theirs. FCP though was a nice 2-0 win. Lallana and Marcano scoring an own goal towards the end of the stages of the match, and we go away with a clean sheet to travel to Porto and try and get a result there. But it's good we got a clean sheet, because now any goal we score will count as double in terms of the away goals. So I'm expecting a nice little cruise. But when it comes to the Champions League and you win in your first home game, when you travel away from home, more often than not, in the match engine at least, your opposition are fired up and try and turn the result around you. So I'm not considering this to be a very cushioned win by any means at all. Reading though, we managed to win 3-0 as well, with Kent, Jorginho and Salah all on the score sheet. Very easy win, and against a team who I think already have their fate done, really, like we mentioned here. And that's kind of it, I think. So we can go ahead and show you the two cup competitions, FCP and Wolves in the FA semi-final. and the Champions League. If we manage to end the season in second place, winning the Champions League and FA Cup, that's a really good season. Of course, if it ends second place and FA Cup, that's decent. But next season really has to be a season where we target the Premier League, and we'll have to do that with some serious firepower. So I'm going to be considering bringing in some top talent. But at the same time, we don't want to lose some of our quality players, so we'll see how it goes. But just to give you some overall stats, I suppose, before we start the game, Lacazette's still our top goal scorer with 22 goals this season. Not a bad investment at all, as he's proven. Salah still most assists and highest average rating. Chan's now overtaken, I think, Jorginho, who had the best pass completion rate. Which kind of makes sense because he's an anchor man, so he's probably playing more safer passes than usual. Chamberlain and Klein getting most man of the matches is kind of surprising, Chamberlain in particular, but either way we'll get around to it. Robertson and Klein and Emre Can with the yellow cards, I suppose, is kind of it. I think if you want to have a quick look at the Premier League stats, where's that? You can kind of see we don't really dominate too many stats. Goals, we're very close to Chelsea, 69 goals, but really we've only got most tackles won, which is the highest. Possession, we're not necessarily a huge possession side. We do play shorter passes, so it kind of makes sense we're in 4th place, but at the same time we kind of play more risky football, so it makes sense that United, Chelsea and City all above us. Most clean sheets, I think we come pretty close as well to Chelsea. So as you can see, Chelsea just blowing away everyone from everything, and I think most crosses completed is quite disappointing. We don't have natural crosses in our side other than our fullbacks. So it makes sense that we're not even in the top 8 here, but it would be nice to actually see us higher up, because I think we're lowest in the table, 19th. City with the ones below us. Let's see what else here is really telling. Nothing, I suppose. Maybe we can have a look at the player stats, player overall overview. Top goal scorer, Ciro Immobile. He always does well in the Premier League if you're looking to invest in someone. I don't want to get too carried away. You can pause and have a look at the screen now, because we do have 2 games to show, so let's just get into it. So we do have a bit of a dilemma. This is the team we're going with in general, but unfortunately for ourselves, Origi picked up a knock where he'll be out for 2 to 5 days with a twisted knee. We've already got Lacazette out injured for 9 days to 3 weeks. I'm not even sure if he's going to be ready for the FA Cup finals. 2 days, so neither of the players should be ready, I think. Origi, yeah, just 2 days. If he is ready in 2 days, that'd be perfect, but we're going to have to try and see who can play as a trequartista for our side. So, Lacazette injured, Salah can probably play as a trequartista by the look of it. We've got Mane on the bench as well, and Jorginho. Let's see if Chamberlain's available. Alright, Chamberlain's here as well, but he's not necessarily the most match-fit player. So I think what we will do is actually play Mane as the striker and hope for the best. Bring on Matip. We've got Timo Horn with a bit of an injury, so that's a problem. 11 days to 3 weeks with a fractured lower arm. Wasn't pleasant to be without him for a while now, and I'm hoping he can come back to us as soon as possible, because we've got Alban Lafont playing, of course. I mean, these are cup competitions, fair enough, but we do want our first choice goalkeeper back for the league games, and hopefully Lafont, who's just come in for us in January, can continue to prove his worth and continue improving. He is considered a wonder kid, so I'm hoping he can fulfill his potential. At 20 years of age, playing in the Champions League, I think you can't have imagined more. Anyways, let's get going with today's game. Mane, as you can see, I think over here before, yeah, I mean, it's blurred out, but you can see Mane is very uncomfortable with that trequartista role, and I don't blame him. He's not normally supposed to be a striker, but in terms of the role in the position itself, he's, you know, considered accomplished. So and he was a huge goal scorer for us last season. As you can tell, not too many appearances in terms of starts, a bunch of substitute appearances, but Kent's completely taken over that left wing role. I mean, how can you drop someone who scored 20 goals and 15 assists? Very difficult. He's hardly ever out of form, and when I've brought Mane in, he hasn't done anything to necessarily impress me. But anyways, this is the team we're going with. You can see sort of both teams going with a 4-2-3-1 variation, I suppose. We're going with an asymmetric one, so I guess you can consider ourselves to be a bit more attacking. And it will take some doing to take apart this block of 4 here, who will do some serious defending. But either way, we're 2-0 ahead, so all we have to do is make sure we don't give FCP a chance to turn this game around. So complacency is the team talk we're going to be going for. Alright, nice little handshake, but I'm going to skip that. No friendlies here. But yeah, just start in the usual control mentality, and if need be, we can go into attack. Hopes are that we'll get a bunch of goals and really shut this game off before FCP can kind of have any hope. If we really only score 1 goal, that means FCP have to score 4 to win the tie. Even 3 won't send it into extra time. 3 goals would just give us the away goals rule. So the need to score a goal is very crucial. And that's why I'm hoping my players don't just switch off. Some of them are composed, some of them are looking very nervous for some reason. Both are fullbacks who are supposed to be a core part of our tactics in truth, because they're the ones who provide all the crosses, provide the roaming, the movement. They're very attacking, and so they're quite central to this tactic, and that's one of the reasons why I'm actually considering bringing in a top left back. We had the hope that Alex would be that top left back. He's proven different since he's come in, but you know, maybe we can get it right this season. Kent loses the ball to Oliver, and FCP are going to try and go and attack here. Pele finds Corona through, and we need to stop him before he delivers in the box. So he's got teammates who are free. Oh, that's really good defending. I'm not even sure who that was. Just pause that for a second. I think that was Barter. But anyways, that's crazy good defending, because for a second there were about 3 players in the box there who were completely free, and that's poor defending from our players there. Need to wise up. In terms of shots though, we are edging it, and maybe Kent can score from this free kick. Ooh, gets as close as possible. It hits the crossbar. Mane is in the box with the ball. Can we kill this move? He goes all the way back to Henderson, who wasn't actually in the position that he tried to pass in. Henderson goes back to Mane though. Can he find a good box, a good cross in the box? Pablo free, inches wide, and wrong side of the post there. But if he set us 1-0 up there, we would have calmed our nerves, I suppose, because FCP are frustrated and trying to do anything possible to get that goal to scare us. Jorginho, box-to-box midfielder, lobs the ball forward. Mane's through if he can win it, and he is. Can he score? Instead he shoots it directly at Casillas, and he's going to have to do better if he wants to beat Casillas there. But that is at least the first clear-cut chance of the game. We are starting to somewhat dominate the game, but Porto are threatening, and we can't just shut up shop here. Kent with the delivery. Felipe couldn't deal with it, but fortunately for him, no one really attacked it afterwards. Casillas being a bit brave with the ball. Mane is going to try and close him down, but it's just lobbed forward, and Kent can't win it, and Everton tries to get Porto going. Oliver with the ball. Oh, does well to find his teammate there. Can't shut him down well enough, and Everton is in the ball in the box. Abubakar. Lafont does well, but apparently not well enough. He's let down by his defenders. Henderson scored the own goal, and our goalkeeper has really seriously been let down by his teammates. Now, I just realised I didn't set replays on, but thankfully that was a opposition goal anyway, so I don't want to see that. Actually, you know what? I still haven't done that. I hate this replay events bit. Right, now that's finally set, but we're going to go into halftime probably a goal down. Unless we score a first actually of today's game, FCP are going to be putting us under serious pressure. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad going in half-time 1-0 down to actually tell my players off. If you can have a look here, 4-0's Kent and Mane all struggling. And I think what needs to be done is actually move Salah into the striker position and put Mane on the advanced playmaker role and see if that helps us, because he's struggling in the striker position. Anyways, opportunity to tell my players off, so let's go ahead and do that. They are looking nervous, so maybe that wasn't the best call. I actually didn't check their body language ahead of time. You should always do that. I mean, ignore my mistake, but in general you should have a look at your team's body language at first to make sure. So I need to do some tactical tweaks to do that now. We want to go into attacking. Actually, we don't really need to go into attacking just yet. We'll stay on control, but we will change Salah into the striking role. 4-0 definitely needs to step up. We've got Lallana on the bench if need be. We'll give it to about 60 minutes before we look, just as always, before we look to make some substitutions and take off some underperforming players, because basically our whole front four have not done well today. Defenders a bit quiet, but not as bad as our front four, so we need to step it up. Jorginho's in the box, heads it to really no one. Henderson finds Mane though. He goes to Barter, and it's eventually back to Kent, who can have another chance at delivering. Barter. And there you go, it's the Spanish centre-back who's made things comfortable for us. Starting in recent matches, he's actually picked up a good steam of form. Actually quite proud of him. He's managed to dethrone, I suppose, Gomez from that centre-back spot. If you guys remember, we brought in Barter, he failed to deliver. He's now been demoted to a good player for most Premier League sides, so that's kind of disappointing. But it looks like with his recent form, he might actually make the step up again. But if he doesn't, we might have to start looking into bringing in some better players. But Gomez is our first choice still. It's just that Barter's been in good form, and I guess you could see why with the goal he scored here today. Not really a centre-back's goal, but it's good to see someone finally put it in the net. Salah having a better game than Mane in the striker position, so maybe we can consider doing that against Wolves again. But we do want to still make some substitutions of players underperforming. We've got Fornells, bring on Lallana, bring on Chamberlain as well for Mane, who's been hugely disappointing, and he's had a horrible season in truth. So apparently there's a highlight there for a second before we made the substitution, so maybe we did take off someone who's about to score. Henderson with the delivery though. Lallana. Anyways, it's FCP who rise highest, and Klein's going to try and shut down this counter-attack before it can happen, but Everton's getting away from him. Not really, I suppose, but he eventually does find a teammate, Oliver, who's been a danger man. Wallace shuts it down well, finds Klein, who's in a defensive midfield position instead of the right back. But Lallana can find Salah through, and can the Egyptian finish the chance? Incredible challenge by Felipe. But anyways, Blind goes safely back to his goalkeeper Casillas, and FCP or Porto are going to have another chance to get going at us. Blindo, no real options, goes back to Casillas. You have to wonder why the game's showing this highlight. We're going to win the ball high up, or are they going to punish us with a through ball? Looks like it's the latter. Everton. We've got a man here who's free, and Oliver finds him, of course. Kent can't get back quick enough. Bustos really good delivery into the box, and Abu Bakar scores Porto's second goal of the game to make it 3-2. And it's a good thing we have the away goals, because Porto are really not giving up here. Look at this, Kent sleeping. He recognises his man is there, but he doesn't do enough to actually mark him. You've got Alex here marking his man, who's Everton. You got Jorginho shutting down Oliver as well as Henderson. So everything here kind of makes sense. You wouldn't expect Jorginho to cover, but Kent's lack of, tracking his fullback. The delivery is really good into the box, but at the same time you have to wonder why. I think this is Barter here, the goal scorer. Just let Abu Bakar get in front of him. Wallace is in a decent position to maybe try and attempt to stop the cross, but it's more about Barter losing his man. And as disappointing defending as you can expect. Lafont's not going to be able to save anything from that position, but maybe he can set up our attack here. Goes with a goal kick to no one in particular, so that's not too good. Blind has time to take a touch as well, and it's quite a good one in truth. But Marcano goes back to Casillas, but we saw what happened the last time that happened. So it's Pele on the ball again to Vukovic. If he can find a danger man who's proven to be Oliver, and he does so. It's through to Abu Bakar. Can we shut the Cameroonian down? He goes out wide this time. Instead, he's probably going to look for someone in the box. Barter's there to clear this time. And Chamberlain can try and get our own counter-attack going with a good delivery. He does eventually find Salah. Our lack of a natural striker has really exposed us today, I suppose, with the lack of goals. But Jorginho does find Kent well. And we need the young Englishman to do something here. Chamberlain to Salah. Really good ball to Kent. Can he score? Well, I don't know what the goalkeeper was doing there, but eventually it does go through, and Kent gets our second to seriously end any Porto hope. I'm hoping at least, because they seem to really have a kick today, a really huge fight. Anyways, Kent just lays it off and makes a good run. I mean, it's just all around good football. Salah, really nice through ball. Kent, I thought, took a heavy touch, but I think he puts it through Casillas' legs there. And we need to thank our lucky stars that Casillas is not a sweeper keeper, because I think any other sweeper keeper would have come out for that. Anyways, some other poor performances, such as from Wallace, but we do have some tired players like Klein. And I think, considering we're trying to concede less, it would be wiser to take off a defender for another. So bring on Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's improved incredibly, and I think at the moment, if I can just pause this game for a second, he has overtaken Klein as the club's best right back. 4 stars. He's still got plenty of potential as well. He's not described as a wonder kid, but he's definitely a leading player, if not a star player for most Premier League sides. Klein himself is considered a good player now by Wolfgang, But he is a new assistant manager, so perhaps he hasn't rated Klein that well. But at the same time, perhaps Klein is finally being exposed for the right back that he is. I mean, of course, as good as he is, I never really considered him to be a leading player for most Premier League sides. But we'll have to give Wolfgang a bit of time to adjust to the new league. This is why you want to try and avoid signing foreign assistant managers as much as possible. You need to try and get someone who knows the league and knows the players. Because Wolfgang didn't even know English, and he didn't know the English Premier League either, and so he's still struggling. He's judging some of my players wrong, judging some of them right, because obviously he doesn't know the club at all. But anyways, Chamberlain to Jorginho. He's going to try and get us the winning goal of the match itself. Kent, he's hit the crossbar, no one's really attacking it, and I think Kent can be upset with his, striker partner, because no one's gone in for that, and I suppose that's Salah's mistake. Got a good assist though, the Egyptian, and we've got 4 minutes added time. Enough time for Porto to try and get the winning goal of the game itself, but it won't do them anything in aggregate, and I think with that type of shot, it's safe to say this game will end 2-2. Very good game of itself, but thankfully we had the tie wrapped up at home in Anfield, and we needed a very similar... Well, I wasn't going to say similar performance against Wolves in the FA Cup, but we don't want to draw that game, but we do want to see some nice overall play. We end the game with 3 clear-cut chances to their 0, so they actually were just very efficient today. Whereas ourselves, we scored 2 goals from 3 clear-cut chances, which is a decent ratio, but we do want to be a bit more efficient than that. Anyways, we go through into the semi-finals of the Champions League. I don't think... we can be upset with that, so well done, good win for us. The players managed to stay somewhat alive to that result and do well enough, but we will have to make some changes. We'll have a look at the match report, see who performed well, who didn't, who's in form and who's not, and make the decision on who should play in the FA Cup semi-final against Wolves. So Manchester United also beat Barcelona, so if we have a look at the... Let's have a look at the possible outcomes. So this is the quarterfinal. I think everyone's played. So it's AC Milan, ourselves, Juventus and Manchester United. And I think if you ask us who we want in the semi-final, it would be AC Milan. We could very much face our rivals Manchester United in the semi-final, and that'd be incredible to see. We'll actually have a look at the semi-final. I won't I won't disappear for a while. We'll go through it together. So let's have a look at the players that we want to decide. Bartos had a good game, and Kent had a good game, and that's kind of it. So everyone else is very much on the basis of form. So this is how I normally manage my teams. So I just select everyone, and you can just have a look at the last 5 games. Anyone who's above 7, I just leave them to continue. And it kind of just leaves us with Mane and Fornells, and we already said Kent and Barto were the good performers of the game. So it looks like Fornells and Mane should not play the next game. So bring on Lallana for Pablo, who himself is out of form, so we do need a good game from Lallana. I'm actually going to have a quick talk with him, speak about recent form, and let's say, where's a Faith one? Actually, let's not even go with Faith, let's go with the pick yourself up. And Mane is a striker, didn't work out, so I think I do want to go with Salah. Actually, you know what, let's keep Mane on there for a second. Let's rest everyone here for 2 days, and even include Origi. No, Origi doesn't even need a rest. Let's just hope Origi is ready by the time our game against Wolves comes around. So there you go. We'll get 5 million for going into the semi-finals. So that's good to see. More money the better. Also, we're obviously performing better. It looks like the Brazil boss was there to look for Felipe and Wallace. We can go ahead and see what the draw is for... Rolf is obviously happy. I let my assistant manager deal with the talks. I don't really like that, the press conference bits. Alright, we'll have a look at the semi-final draw in just a moment. But of course, it's the FA Cup semi-final against Wolves. That's going to be very interesting. I think they beat a fair few good teams to actually get into their position, so we can't, underrate them or anything. They are a championship team, and we should definitely be winning, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, we cannot underestimate them at all. Alright, so a bunch of advice, a bunch of pre-match talk, but this is the one that we want to look for. Alright, so we're up first. Give us AC Milan. Ah, we got Juventus instead. That's perfect. Can we have a look at the Italian league? See where Juventus are? No, we can't actually. I don't have it even loaded. But alright, so it makes it very interesting. It would be even more interesting with Manchester United. We meet them in the final, so I suppose it makes sense. But I was hoping we would get a somewhat easier draw against AC Milan. But we'll have to prove ourselves again. We beat Bayern. If we can do that, we can hopefully beat Juventus in the semi-final. It will be a very interesting game to show you in the next episode. Alright, so let's finally get to Wolves, please. There you go. No problems. Alright, can I finally select my team, please? I think there's some Premier League games still ongoing, but I'm not too concerned. United just drew there, so they do climb above us, but I think we have 2 games in hand on them now, and they're just 1 point away, so we should have top spot wrapped, if not the Champions League position wrapped as well. So again, we've met board expectations, but not our own, which is to win the Premier League. And we'll have a final season next time around to do that. So, by looks of it, Origi's not ready yet. He's got a full rehabilitation in 2 days. His conditioning though is really good. I think we can put him on the bench in truth, but I don't want to risk injuring him again because Lacazette's still out for a while. So I think I'll just keep him as is, and we'll take off Mane for Salah and then bring on Chamberlain in the right wing position. I think that's our only best bet because Mane did not have a good game in the striker position. I think Salah did better once we moved him out there as well. So I think we can get going again. So can we get into the finals of the FA Cup and hopefully win the competition as a whole? Let me have a look at... I want to actually have a look at the fixtures. So if we can look at their... Let's have a look at when they first come in. Where's Wolves? Alright, I don't think they're in the second round. Do they come in the third round? Alright, they should be here somewhere. Alright, so they just about beat Leeds on penalties. They did decently there in their 4th round. Where are you again? Alright, they beat Brighton 2-0. That's a very decent result as well. I think Brighton are a Premier League team. In the 5th round, they managed to beat Bournemouth, again another Premier League team if I'm not mistaken, 2-1. So they've done really well up until this point. In the 6th round themselves, they managed to beat West Ham 2-1. And so they're very much so in the semi-finals on merit. And if you assume Manchester City beat Stoke, we will be facing them in the final. But we have to hope that Stoke beat City to make it an easy, well, an easier at least final for us. There's no such thing as easy finals, but at least an easier one. Anyways, we're at home for the fixture. All expectations are on us, and I can't ask anything else from my players other than to make it clear to them that the expectations are on us to win the fixture and make things nice and comfortable for us. Anyways, they're inspired, so we got the right reaction, I suppose. We're going to give a nice little walkout for them, but we just want to get on with the game, and hopefully Salah, playing as an auxiliary striker, I suppose, a player who's not normally played in the striker position, for us at least, he'll have to try and lead the line to the best of his abilities. His heading's not too great, but as you know, he's playing as a trequartista, so we don't expect... I just said his heading's not great, and he put a really nice header to Chamberlain there. But yeah, you know, we don't expect him to head it anyways in the trequartista role. Wolves really getting going already with Marquez, and Lafont put a really good goalkeeping save there. And that's the first click-out chance of the game within 3 minutes time for Wolves, and they're going to try and score from the set piece. The danger is not over until we clear this ball. Wolves really coming out of the blocks here. Graham from outside the box goes for a shot, and thankfully that's as high as possible. But we really need to wake up here because Wolves are not taking today's game for granted at all. But yeah, that was one hell of a clearance. I don't think that was even a good ball. I think that was just a really good clearance. Marquez was through there, and an even better save from Lafont, and that's exactly why you play sweeper keepers when you're playing a high line or a very attacking team anyways, because Lafont came out and closed the angle well, and so the save looked better, or actually looked worse than it should have been, because that's actually a really incredible save, just his positioning. Anyway, Salah through on the other end. He's quickly closed down. He does well to find Lallana. Can he find the net though? Really decent shot from outside the box. He has plenty to prove today, Lallana. But by the looks of it so far, we haven't done too well. Picked up a bit of a knock by the looks of it, Lallana as well. Can we have a look? What have you got? Alright, the game doesn't want to show me for some weird reason. Anyways, they're playing a 4-2-3-1 of sorts themselves, just a bit more of a defensive one. Alright, what's he got on? Tight Achilles. Two DMs, wingers that are playing not as high up as our wingers, so they're going to really exploit the space in behind ours. So we do have to be very careful. Lallana's going to have to come off by the looks of it, and that's very disappointing. I was hoping he could improve his worth. Hopefully Fornells gets the idea though that, you know, we dropped him to the bench for a reason today, and maybe he can have a good performance from off the substitutes bench. Of course, Salah, we were hoping would have a good game from the striker position, but he's not. At least Chamberlain's enjoying his game as an advanced playmaker, but so far not too much to shout about. Having said that, 2 minutes left, or a minute left of added time to the first half, and we might have a chance to score here. Some decent play. Klein to Chamberlain. What can the Englishman do? Does well to find the box-to-box midfielder Jorginho. Can he go back to Klein though? Instead he reverses the pass to Pablo and he finds Salah. Can the Egyptian find a good pass? Goes to Kent. Through to Chamberlain. Oh, that is one hell of a shot and a probably even better save. I thought he was going to take a touch through and then finish it, but instead he went for the volley. And Wolves managed to survive. Kent with the delivery. Barter tries to go for it, but not good enough. And Chamberlain can find Kent once more. A decent, really good ball actually. But comes to nothing and Barter can find Jorginho. How long can we sustain the pressure? To Salah. Can he deliver? Pablo's free, but the cross is shut down, and that's probably the end of the first half. And I think we definitely need to do better in the second, because Wolves are throwing everything they've got at this game. We've edged the shots, but our shots on target don't read too much. I think just a calm, I'm far from pleased with this team is good enough for a response. Let's try and encourage the players to make the difference today. Ready to walk through walls, so we've done alright there. Let's go into attacking. We'll have to be very careful. You can expect Wolves to counter-attack, so the moment I feel like attacking is not good for us, I'm going to go back down to control, because sometimes that does happen. But we do need to occupy this block of 4 players here, because they're going to prove very difficult to break down. We might have to slow down a touch, work the ball into the box type of thing. And having said that, that's exactly what Wolves are going to try and do here. Silva on the ball, Helder Costa with the delivery. Wallace clears, and it's Pablo on the ball. It looks like everyone's back, but Salah is found really well. No, he's not. Iorfa drops back to win it well. And again, Wolves come at us again. Silva. Back to Iorfa. They're taking their time. Ruben Neves. Wolves have a very decent team, by the way. Lobbed forward though, stupidly, thankfully. And Wallace can pick up the pieces for us here, and we're going to have to do better with the way we build up, because last time Pablo just lobbed it forward to Salah. Chamberlain on the ball though, advanced playmaker, taking every man on. He's eventually tackled by Rice, but Kent's on the ball for us this time, probably long range shot from outside. Yep, and that's probably sums up our game, and I think that definitely tells us that we should work the ball into the box with the way we're performing. Coming up to 60 minutes though, so we can start to look to make some substitutions. We've already made one with Fornells. If this game goes into extra time, we do not want to make all our substitutions. I don't think this is like the League Cup where you can make a 4th substitution after, you know, in extra time. But very tellingly, Salah is having a poor game, so I will take him off for Mane. And hope that this time he can make the difference in the same way that Salah did last time. Before the substitution's made though, there is a highlight. And you have to wonder whether this is finally when Wolves will punish us. Costa, decent ball to Marquez. He's by himself though, so if he can shut him down quickly enough, he can stop the build-up. Instead, he does well to find Boga. Probably long-range shot of himself, isn't it? Goes into the box. And that's wide, but it's kind of worrying how no one really put some pressure on either of those players. Either way, we've made our substitution, and maybe he can have an impact right away by the looks of this highlight. Chamberlain goes back to Klein well. Goes to Jorginho and Pablo, and we're working the ball well this time. This is exactly the kind of thing I want to see. Mane's on the ball this time now. Chamberlain, can he find Klein? Eventually does, and he just has to deliver. Pablo's there, back to Chamberlain, and Jorginho, yes, there you go. Wasn't sure if he was going to take the shot or not, but this is exactly why we chose to work the ball into the box, because we were a bit too hasty before. And he celebrates with that sort of Usain Bolt celebration, and I can't blame him because that was a speedy shot, or a bullet of a shot more like. But yeah, Chamberlain does eventually well to find Klein. The delivery is very decent, and Chamberlain does even better to just head it down well to Jorginho. It's just too tempting for him to not take a shot. And we can see his little celebration here again. I think I just want to pinpoint exactly when he does it. Oh, game ruined it for me. But anyways, eventually do find the opener. Now it's about keeping Wolves at bay, and you have to say, when they come out and try and come at us and play with us, we'll be able to take them apart even better, I think. Gone back to control, of course, because, you know, no need to stay on attacking and risk being counter-attacked. It's a bit risky to make the last substitution. We've got Keita and Chan and Trent, and I think what I do want to make is actually change Henderson off so that our anchorman's better off. Jorginho had a really good game, and I would love to rest him, but it's not the time for it, and I think Henderson taken off for Chan would probably be the better move. You know what, I just realised I could have just moved Henderson into the box-to-box midfielder role of Jorginho, and that way we could have rested Jorginho as well. But anyways, outside of the box for Graham. Oh, he tried to do a Jorginho, but he couldn't, and thankfully that didn't happen, because would have been disappointed to have conceded that way. Wolves are very tired in comparison to ourselves. We are a bit, obviously, but not as much as them. It's good to see that they haven't really threatened us of late, so hopefully we can just see off the clock, but my players will need to stay focused. Alright, there you go. So they've finally gone into 4-2-3-1. I'm going to take off that instruction to work the ball into the box, because we don't need to do that anymore. We have to try and hit them on the counter. And I think we can very much do that, because they're going to be as attacking as possible. There you go. I think we're going to hit them on the counter now. Wallace clears it, lumps it forward. Mane on the ball. It's 2v4, if he can try and find his teammate. Is he going to go by himself? It's probably a bit of a stupid shot in truth. If he took an extra touch in there and went a bit forward, he would have had a better angle. But either way, at least we're, you know, threatening Wolves on the counter-attack now. Just to scare them a bit to maybe consider being less attacking. 2 minutes though, and there is a highlight, so let's really hope we keep our composure. Chamberlain though, up to Klein. Are we going to be hit on a counter-attack if he doesn't deliver a good ball? Mane in the free post, well, free post, near post. He's free at the near post, and he does score. And that wraps it up, and we are going to go into the finals. The question is, who will we face? Will it be Stoke or Manchester City? But Mane does really well. A poacher's goal, and that is not a trequartista's goal at all. But yeah, again, good ball from Chamberlain to find Klein, and that's kind of the overlaps that we want to see from our fullbacks, and this is why they're so important. Mane gets away from his man, and you've got two other players in the box there to actually make that run if he didn't. Right, so referee should blow the whistle. We were in the semi-finals of the Champions League and in the finals of the FA Cup, and we'll definitely try and show you both games in the next episode. But the Champions League semi-final should be 2 legs, I think, as well, and we will have to decide which one to show you. Anyways, dressing room, can't ask for more. Congratulations, there you go. So, nothing to play for in terms of the Premier League title, but we do have to try and finish as high as possible. Second, as much, you know, you have to try and aim for second now to try and keep second. But if we end in third and get Champions League football anyways, it's not end of the world. But would be disappointing considering how we've chased Chelsea all season long. Alright, so get 900k, secure victory. I actually just want to see who we would draw. Who we got. I think they haven't played their game yet, so let's actually see if we can find out now. Hello? I don't want to see Premier League games played. I want to see Wolves and City. Alright, nope. It's just going to skip to the next day. That's a bit weird. Alright, forget it. Actually, wait, let's not forget it. When do you guys play? Oh, it's is that today? Yeah, it's today at 3. So I think I do want to go back and make some of my rest some of my players and see who to drop and who not to. Chamberlain deserves. Okay, apparently not. Whatever. Alright, let's see who didn't perform, who's not in form. Well, pretty much everyone except for Lallana, who's picked up a bit of a knock, so I think we can bring on Pablo, and that's kind of the only change we'll make. But we do want to rest some of our players. Unfortunately, I think we made a mistake of forwarding before, so I don't think they'll actually get 2 days rest, probably just 1, but that will hopefully make the difference. I think we can also have Origi on the bench, so that'll be good to see, but I just want to see, more importantly, who's in the semis and who's in the final, and we're going to get that now. Manchester City, there you go. Aguero with a penalty in the 72nd minute, so it will be very interesting. Pretty sure. Alright, Guardiola did lose his job, and it is Ancelotti in the City seat now. And if we can keep them out of the Europa League spots in terms of the Premier League and knock them out of the final of the FA Cup, I think that'd be pretty good to see, considering they were former champions last season. Alright, so let's have a look at the schedule and see when we'll be back. The FA Cup final is obviously in the very end of the season, so we will have a sort of I think next episode what we'll do will actually show you both the Juventus game, both legs, that would make the most sense, and then probably show you the FA Cup final and the Champions League final in the very last episode of the season. But anyways, I think that's all for today's episode. So if you did enjoy it, now of course, please do hit the like button and subscribe for more Daily Football Manager 2018 content. And leave your thoughts in the comment section below, of course. And as always, guys, thank you all very, very much for watching.